Hello people, welcome to the channel. In this one, I'm going to be talking about 3 prospects unranked in the UFC, and if they were stocks in the stock market. Now, I'm not a finance guy or anything, but I seen a guy on TikTok do this for baseball players. Shout out to that guy. I wish I fucking got his TikTok so I could shout out the idea. But if these prospects were stocks, would I invest in them? Only unranked guys. I got 3 for today. Let me know some more prospects. This is one I want to do more often. Make a bit of a series out of it. Now, before I get on to the 3 prospects, let's take a look at what I'm going to be taking into account when I'm talking about if I would invest in these guys or not. So, the age of the fighter, if they're young, old, past their prime, going into their prime, their skill set, what are they good at, what are they not, how well-rounded are they, what division are they in, how deep is it, how far I think they can go, and how popular they are, like how much are people talking about them. So like if a 10-0 guy with like no one in his division, he's young, well-rounded, and he could hold the belt in the next few years, and imagine no one's talking about him for whatever reason, I would want to invest a lot. But if there's like a 12-1 guy, and he's in the lightweight division, which is stacked as fuck, he's a striking specialist with not the best well-roundedness, and say he's 31 years old, just a bit maybe in his prime, but gonna be past it in a couple of years, maybe I wouldn't want to invest in him a lot, So with that being said, let's move on to the first prospect I got in this video, Raul Rosas Jr. He's 8-1, 2-1 in the UFC. We just seen him knock out Terrence Mitchell, and then he got dominated to a decision by Christian Rodriguez. But the kid's 19 years old. Like, I don't give out any of my info on the channel, but like, he's younger than me. 5'9", 67-inch reach at 135. I mean, he's a decent-sized bantamweight, and he's only gonna fill out, get a little more muscular over the years, because I don't think he has a horribly hard weight cut to 135. And bantamweight's deep as fuck though, and Raul's striking, despite just knocking out a guy, has looked kind of suspect. He's lethal on the ground, really good submission artist. We've seen him submit guys in the UFC on the Contender Series. We've seen him submit guys. But my one issue, and this shouldn't be an issue, but it is, with Raul Rosas Jr., when it comes to the investing in him, is he's 19 years old. And some might say, well, get your money in early and, it would be the biggest profit. But for me, he could be a decade out of his prime. Like 10 years from now, this guy will be 29 years old. That's when people's, physical dominant prime comes into play, And I just think you could hold off for a couple of years, see if he can, become a little more well-rounded and a little more dangerous, and maybe invest in him at 23 or 24, where I still think he'd be a couple of years out of, a long reigning title, Moving on to the next guy, though, Bo Nickal. I mean, everyone knows Bo Nickal. He's 5-0 in MMA, 2-0 in the UFC, 6'1", 76-inch reach. He's a pretty okay sized middleweight, 185. His wrestling is insane. We know one of if not the best D1 college wrestlers of all time, Penn State. And I mean, he got good BJJ to go with it, good submissions. We haven't seen much of his striking. I mean, he knocked out that grocery store cashier that came in on short notice for 290, but I think it was 290. But middleweight is a decent division, not overly stacked. I see a good future for Bo Nickal. He's 27 years old, like only a couple of years, maybe like in his prime, or maybe like 2-3 years out of his prime. But I don't know. He's like fresh to MMA. I think he's hungry. I think he'll become a really good striker, at least a decent striker. He'll continue to be insane on the ground, and I think he'll definitely be a title contender, if not a title holder in the future. And given his age and where I see him going right now, I would definitely put some money in on Bo Nickel. I would heavily invest. I could see him being a champ in like 2 or 3 years. Like 2 or 3 years. And he's unranked right now, you know? And it could be faster than that. If he just starts steamrolling more people, taking fights more often, it could be like year and a half from now, he could be fighting for a title, you know? But moving on to the last guy I have for this video, and definitely the least known of these three, but my favorite of the three, for sure. And that's Gabriel Bonfim. 15-0, 2-0 in the UFC, 2 finishes. He's 6'1" with a 72-inch reach at welterweight. That is a good size for welterweight. He's a big welterweight. Fantastic on the ground. Great submission offense. He's always chasing the finish with the grappling. He got power with the hands too. He does. He's 26 years old, just walking into his prime. Solid division in welterweight, but he's a solid guy. He's a big dude. Big, imposing, heavy guy. And he's just one that I included. I know he's not on the stratosphere of the Bo Nickels and the Raul Rosas Jr.'s of the world when it comes to hype. But I think with the skill and everything, like, I think he's right there. Like, I think he's going to go very far in the division. And I just don't hear many people talking about him. Like, I would be investing heavily in Gabriel Bonfim stock, for sure. I really like him. He's got a fight coming up this weekend in the Sao Paulo card against Nicholas Dalby. I think that's going to be another win for him, and I just see him soaring high in the welterweight division. I really do. But let me know what you guys thought of this video. The you know, talking stocks and bonds about UFC fighters, you know. Thought it was an interesting idea. Again, shout out to the guy on TikTok who did this for baseball players. He gave me the idea. But if you guys like MMA, check out some of the other videos I got on my channel. Drop a like on this one. Subscribe if you like all things MMA and UFC. And thank you guys so much for watching. Now go sleep.